Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching, and welcome to the Overwatch 2 Dev Deep Dive September edition. Today we are going to be talking about something that we've gotten a couple of requests to talk about and people seem pretty excited to hear about, sound design. With me, I've got two really cool guests that we'll introduce in a couple minutes, or well, maybe a minute or two. But before we start, I wanted to talk about how today's stream is going to go. It'll be a little bit different from the ones that we've done in the past. Sound design is very, very big discipline, and there are some things that we couldn't really bring with us to the stream today. So interspersed throughout the stream today will be a couple of videos that we'll cut to kind of really give you a deeper dive into sound design of Overwatch 2. We also have a couple of questions that we got from Reddit that we'll be answering throughout the stream, although there were so many questions, so many really, really wonderful questions, but there's so many that we can't really answer them all in the time that we have for today. So we'll try to focus on a couple of the ones that, we got, and we'll try to get through them as much as we can. And also we'll have more than two people today. We have two right here, the camera will switch to in a minute. We'll have a couple of rotating guests that will be in and out as the stream goes along. But for now, I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves. Who are you? What are you? Where are you? What do you do on the team? And would you like to start first?
Hello, I'm Felipe Pereira. I'm a senior sound designer on the Overwatch team, and I am here on this couch with my buddies.
With your buddies. Nice. Who are you?
My name is Nicholas Yochum. I am a senior sound designer as well. Been on the team for about 2 years, and worked on Juno and Wuyong.
Yeah. Before starting the stream, I like to ask a bit of a small question. So, what was your dream job as a kid?
Good question. I don't think I had a dream job. I didn't want to work.
Did you just want to?
I wanted to have fun.
You just wanted to have fun?
And now I get to do that.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, there you go.
No, honestly, I think the dream was musician for a long time. And I think like a lot of sound designers, we start as musicians and then we fail and then we become sound designers. Okay. No, it's like, I feel like a lot of musicians aren't aware that sound design is an option. And then for a lot of us, when we find it, it's like, oh, this is the thing that's really stable and fun to do. It's like a whole different way to apply what you've learned as a musician. So yeah, I would say that.
What about you, Nick?
I don't know, I grew up a skater kid, so So I didn't really have many goals at first, but eventually, I got into music as well. Same thing, did electronic music, then just kind of got into building libraries for companies, and then followed this path.
Yeah, it's cool that even though it ended up not really being what you dedicate yourself to do, as your work, the experiences that you had as a kid really influence what you do today, which is what we're going to be talking about, sound design. So we have a lot to cover here. We have a couple people that are going to be joining us today, other than Felipe and Nick. But I think we can start talking about heroes, the heroes that you worked on, how it is designing the sound and the personality in that way of a hero. So Felipe, if you would like to start, I'd love to hear about the heroes that you worked on. And just like a brief little kind of experience of how it was working on them.
Totally. I'm going to try to keep it concise and short because there's a lot I could say here. But the heroes I've worked on are Illari, Venture, and Freya, and Secret Stuff. So for Illari, her character is really focused on her Quechuan Peruvian roots. And so I drew a lot of inspiration from that, and as you'll see, there's going to be a video soon where I talk about how I bought Peruvian instruments and tried to manipulate the sounds of those instruments to make her solar power. Venture was a totally different endeavor where it was more about the fantasy of that giant drill and what does that sound like? How do I build that when there is no such thing as that weapon in the real world? Building out the energy inside her gun, their gun, sorry. And Freya was really about capturing the essence of a futuristic, really high-skilled agile assassin. So like very different themes, but all incredibly fun to do, super rewarding stuff to do.
Yeah. What have you worked on so far?
Yeah, I worked on Juno. She was my first hero when I joined the team. She was a lot of fun. It was a really great introduction to the team. I do a lot of synthesis, so like 95% of her sounds are all synthesized. It was a lot of fun to work on, and then to see how she was received after release and stuff was just like the best experience. And then working on Wu Young, kind of a similar thing. Working more with like organic sounds and trying to figure out what his energy was and what his like signature sounds was a little more difficult than Juno, but it was like really satisfying to nail it eventually and then see him release and people eating up his sounds. It's been good.
That's awesome. I mean, whenever I see any behind the scenes of you guys working, I'm just amazed at how much happens, you know, like it's so, we'll be talking a little bit more about what it is, you know, working on actual sound design, but I just wanted to say that I really admire you guys' work.
Well, thanks, Anna. I admire you too.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, you're so kind.
Friends.
For you, little heart. There you go. So I have also been part of a Hero Strike team from the very start until the very end, and I see the evolution of sound from an outsider's perspective. So how is it, you know, you get put on a hero and you get kind of a rundown of, you know, who this hero is, what they're supposed to do, the vibe that the hero designers and the narrative team want to give off. How is it, you know, starting on a hero from scratch and, you know, the whole development from start to finish?
Yeah, well, we have the luxury on our team to be involved like right at the beginning along with all the other disciplines, which is not like super common in the game industry.
No,
So
I don't think
it's
so.
really cool that we get to do that. So we're seeing this develop with concept art and with VFX and with animation, with narrative.
And sometimes what we do influences what VFX does, and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool process to be a part of.
Yeah, we're there shoulder to shoulder as this thing is developing. And I think like at the very root of it, it starts from concept art, and even talking to narrative like before there's art, and just like getting early conversations about like, okay, what kind of universe am I thinking of right now? You know, like in what realm of like sound design am I trying to start to generate some ideas? So yeah, it really starts from like the brainstorm phase, really.
Yeah. And we also start with like temp sounds. Like we throw in stuff that just kind of like implies the cadence of an ability, because you know things are pretty early on, so we just get stuff in so there's some kind of sound that's not annoying, that fits the aesthetic to some degree, but like that's very temp, and then we develop it as it goes.
What does a brainstorm phase for a sound look like?
Like early on in my career, shout out Pedro Seminario, first lesson I got as a game audio designer is make it work. So before you even start thinking about like what does it sound like, bro? Like, just make it work in the build, because that is like 50% of our job, and there's a lot that goes into that. So even if it's just a quick temp sound or a library sound, just to like sub something in, just make it work as intended, and then get into like filling in the kit with stuff.
We also like talk with each other. Like if you get hung up on, you're like, I don't know what this energy is supposed to sound like. It's purple and bubbly or whatever. You know, it's like, what would you do for that? Or we'll find references and exchange stuff. So that's kind of how we do it in the audio team, at least. But yeah, touching base with narrative is a big part of it. I did it with Juno. Like I didn't know what her energy boosters would sound like, and because originally she sounded like fire, and they're like, oh no, it's supposed to sound more like this, and so you start to shape your sounds around that.
So I think this might be a good moment to ask about footsteps, because every hero has different ways they sound when they walk or when they fly, when they roll around, when they do stuff. So Nick, this is a question that we got from Reddit. Hero footsteps, as I understand them, are intended to give players a way of detecting when a threat is nearby, with more dangerous heroes such as Reaper having louder and more obvious footsteps. How is this reconciled with the notion of floating heroes like Zenyatta, Sigma, and Echo having no footsteps at all? Echo in particular can easily assassinate someone if she sneaks up on them. I know she plays SFX when she flies or glides, but simply walking with her is silent as far as I know.
Yes, it's a good question. It is a question that we we think about often and when we're developing heroes. It's tricky because if you have a lot of heroes who have like persistent looping sounds like energy or wind or whatever it is, it's just going to make things noisy, and you're just going to have humming all around you. And so we try to find sounds for like other little movements or other things like that are less persistent. We actually had this exact thing happen with Juno, where she originally floated in more like a smooth animation. And so after some conversations, we decided she needed something new, something different. And then they gave her that kind of skating cadence. And it ended up being awesome because it was like more unique, sort of like made her more distinct. And I got to make some weird warbly sounds for her feet and stuff. So yeah, we try and address that as best as possible. And we're very aware of it.
Yeah, because like persistent looping sounds it's hard for them to cut through the mix.
Yeah.
There's all this like gunfire happening, all this stuff like, so it's hard for that to really be noticed. But if it oscillates, if it has a cadence, if the pitch is changing, that's all stuff that can help it like cut through and be heard.
Yeah.
So we try to do that as much as possible. And it's a hard sound design challenge to solve. Because you're right, like there's a lot of floating heroes, and so we have to, if it's not in the animation, like we have to kind of make that up. Like, maybe it like, whatever their power is, like oscillates. So it's like all that stuff will help your ear catch it.
Yeah. Or every time they move in a new direction, they'll be like, like that kind of.
Yeah.
Or already making sounds.
Like echoes, like the pitch of her persistent loop, like will change as she's moving around.
It's like, woo.
Yeah.
You're hired.
Thank you. I might now sound designer, but if I can make those.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
This is
our
what we do.
vocabulary.
Yeah, which reminds me, I was kind of hearing you guys kind of speak earlier and talking with our other guests that you'll meet in a bit, that your meetings when you have feedback from each other is just a bunch of sounds. Like, oh, maybe this could sound more like instead of. Is it just how that's just how it is?
I've always said that like we're just like 3-year-olds with pots and pans again. Like that's kind of what we're doing, just like a better version of that. But like, I mean, that's our vocabulary is like, is that more pew or is that more like shot or is that a zing zing?
Yeah, we want to take it away from pew. No,
But,
for sure, a lot like that. And like, it's just like, what's the quickest way for me to convey an idea?
Exactly.
You know, so if you're like, this explosion, like it's just a psh, and I want it to be like a double cadence, like, you know, like, you just act it out.
Yeah.
And there have been instances too, like I remember working on Illari for her ult. Like I got that animation, I put it in my session, and I was like, okay, there's a lot going on here really fast. It's like orb in the gun, up in the air, and so just to like get my head around it, I just performed it into a mic. So there's a session where it's just like
just his voice,
I think we should add that to the game. I think like without telling anybody, without like
new skin, y'all.
Felipe
sound.
And different teams use different vocabulary too. When I came to this team, like where I used to work, we used to use the term ruckle.
Ruckle?
Yeah.
What's
and it's like a beady kind of like an alligator. The way it's like has that like rumbling sound.
I see.
And like I thought it was just a regular term, but like
Ruckle.
nobody knows what ruckle is.
I've never heard that word before.
See?
Ruckle.
You know, I learned something new.
You're gonna have to bleep that sound. Yeah.
Ruckle.
Bleep that.
So you guys have worked on support heroes and on, in your case, DPS as well. Is there like a different philosophy or like a mentality on we're working on a support and this is the kind of sound that we want, and we're working on a DPS. Suddenly I forgot that word. I just said it, but I forgot that word. Let me say that again. Is there like a different mentality or like a different vibe that you want when working on a support versus working on a DPS?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'll go.
Go.
Well, I think like, when I've been assigned support heroes, it's like, yes, I get to do this, but also like, oh my God, like I feel like it's harder.
Yep.
Just because the character's interacting with others, and you have to convey that stuff is happening to other players much more so than a DPS character. So there is like an added layer of challenge. But I think at the core of it, when we're talking sound design, you're just trying to convey the fantasy of whatever that character is, you know? Yeah. So for support heroes, sometimes the challenge is that their design will be like, they'll be like super menacing visually.
Yeah.
But if you design it that way, like, doesn't sound too much like a healer, maybe.
Right.
You know. So those are things we have to try to balance out too.
It's also how they want them to perform too. Like, I was designing Juno way harder than she needed to sound, and they're like, she needs to be a healer. Like, they're using her weapon more as damage and healing, so I had to like tone it back and like change things. And then with Wu Young, it was sort of the opposite, where they're like, oh, we want them to be a little bit more attack heavy, sort of like a Illari. So,
I did not envy Nick for Wu Young, because like, imagine trying to like, he's all water based, and like you have to make it sound like it can damage you and it can heal you, and it's all like, and water is essentially noise.
You're right. It's just the noisiest sound.
So if I may boast on his behalf, like, Nick is like a wizard at making organic sounds out of synthesis. It's all just in the box synthesized stuff, but he made all this like bubble, like orb water, like, it is wild. So like, yeah, most of that stuff like wasn't like organic recordings. It was like stuff he made.
all of his water is synthesized. Yeah, I just wanted to sound clean and concise, and you know, water can be super noisy, and so having like a palette that I can play with is, you know,
I can't
helpful.
see a move. Okay. You block like Nick right on my point of.
I'll answer that.
Oh yeah, you want to answer for Nick? So Nick, is there like an obscure detail specifically in Wu Young's kit, now that we're talking about him, that you think players might not notice at first?
In fact, there is. So there are a few. I put in a bunch of fun little Easter eggs, and I actually made a video about it.
Yeah, which, speaking of, we will play it.
Cut to a clip
right now.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Yochum. I'm a senior sound designer here on Team 4. I primarily work on cosmetics and new heroes, including Juno and our newest hero, Wu Young. Over the past few weeks, I've seen a lot of positive comments about Wu Young's sound effects. I thought it'd be fun to go over some of the details and more subtle layers that you may not have heard your first time playing him. So yeah, check them out. One of my favorite audio Easter eggs is what happens after you use Wu Young's Rushing Torrent and Tidal Blast abilities. Both of these abilities require Wu Young to be surrounded by water, so I thought it'd be fun if his footsteps sounded wet after these abilities finished. Wu Young has a couple of abilities where, if performed a certain way, you can hear some additional tonal layers. The first is his Empowered Primary Fire. While controlling Wu Young's Empowered Orb, a new layer can be heard while moving more quickly. I also added an extended tail to the windup of his Guardian Wave ability. This tail adds a cinematic build-up for when Wu Young is falling from high ground. When designing Wu Young sounds, I tried to take advantage of our surround sound support where I could. If Wu Young places his passive healing stream on you, you'll hear a calm bell and gentle water rotating around you. If he casts his ult on you, you'll hear rushing water swirl around you before it explodes. The next two clips are captured in stereo, but listen out for these sounds the next time you play in surround sound. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive on Wu Young's sound effects. If you have found any of these in game while playing, let us know in the comments. Thanks.
Very cool video. Thank you for sharing like everything you did for Wu Young. Also, that was really cute. So, you know, after watching that video, was there any? I mean, I know that we already said that it was pretty challenging, like outright working with Wu Young. Was there anything that you just had to like iterate on and on and on and on and on?
Oh yes, his primary fire it's probably one of the hardest things I've had to design. It sounds very simple, but just the initial like toss sound, because it can be done so rapidly and also slow, and it's connected to all these other things, and it has to sound like water, and it has to sound like his energy, and like it has to convey a lot of different things. It was very tricky. I think I did like 10 to 12 versions of it. It took a while, but yeah, I ended up just kind of like instead of making it too fancy, just making it satisfying was the goal. Just like, as long as it's satisfying, it conveys that it's water and it works, then that's kind of the thing.
Dude, like stuff like weapon fire that isn't like ballistics based at a distance is really hard to convey because you don't have the luxury of putting a, you know, that like makes a super loud, like reverberant sound from far away. So it's hard to make like something like that where it's like water based, but like how does that sound super far away? You know, because you want to hear that the enemy is like firing. So yeah, it's tricky.
So during the process of hero development, things can change pretty significantly from the very first moment you guys get involved in the process until the very end. Is it, or I guess, how is it, you know, working alongside the animation team specifically when, you know, on gameplay animation, sometimes it might be a little faster or it might be a little slower in ability. Is it tough to have to adjust all those things on the fly?
Sometimes. It depends on how we have it hooked up, because if it's hooked up a certain way, it'll adjust with it. But then there are other times if we don't have it sort of like broke out and modular, then we have to go back and edit things. But yeah, it depends on what it is though.
Yeah, and there's always an easy way to implement something and the more complicated way. But the more complicated way, we usually like cover your bases later. Like let's say a character has like an ability that's channeled for 3 seconds. At launch, it's 3 seconds, but maybe they're going to be in Stadium one day. Maybe there's going to be like some crazy perk, and now it's 4 seconds.
We're having to think about that a lot.
Instead of making like a linear sound, you have to make a sound that loops and performs in a certain way, and will like adhere to when the ability is being activated. So, yeah, it's
perks in Stadium has changed the way that we kind of sort of approach certain things. It comes up a lot more now. I bring it up all the time. Where they're like, "Oh, this is cool." I'm like, "But what happens if it were 5 seconds longer?" And then they're like, "Ah." True. So yeah, you have to really consider those things now making stuff. It makes it more fun and challenging though.
Right. Yeah. So I'm curious something, Felipe, about Illari specifically. Her weapon can both heal and damage, and it sounds it's your face.
What is it?
Like this is new news to him.
Laughing at my face.
I'm sorry.
My face, dog.
You're a funny guy. What was I saying? Oh yeah, her weapon both damages and heals.
Yeah.
How was it, you know, finding not just the visual aspect, but also, you know, when you hear it as another player, you know that she's healing and you know that she's attacking.
Do you? Thank
I
goodness.
mean, I can
Job well done.
I guess. How was it, you know, finding that difference? That it's the same weapon, so it should sound like the same weapon, same character, but it's different abilities.
It does help that her heal is a beam and her damage is a one-shot fire. So I can put a little more sauce on the fire, make it a bit more like aggressive.
Right.
I want it to sound like it's kind of spitting out of the gun. It's
Yeah.
and whereas like the beam, it's a lot more just like conveying that it's a glowing beam of energy. Yeah. And I feel like that also it like I don't know, like it fits with healing more so than damage. Sure. But I also have like I can fall back on the fact that we have a shared healing sound that like pitches up. And that'll cut through the mix, like you'll hear it with Mercy.
Yeah, like
So like as soon as you're hitting that beam and like connecting it to someone that needs healing, you'll hear that, and that'll like, you know, as a player, I don't have to like try to sell it too hard with just the beam sound. I have that shared healing sound to kind of do some of the heavy lifting.
Right.
And for gameplay, we do different sounds for friendly versus enemy.
Yeah.
So that it reads different in game. And Juno's ult used to damage when we were first we're working on her. And then later on, you know, we took that away, but it's like the sound of her ults loop, the beam sounds different if you're an enemy versus friendly, just to differentiate.
Cool. Other than heroes, have you guys worked on any like play the games, VPs, other like random little things that you're like, I did that. Hell yeah.
For sure. Like heroes it's like our main project. Like we'll work on it for months. And then in between that, we'll get to work on what we call cosmetic items, which is POTGs, play the game, animations, highlight intros, emotes, the souvenir animation. Like, we'll get that stuff, and that's kind of like to us, there is kind of like the little pieces of candy we get to do, because making stuff in game, it's really complicated, and the sound design part is really just 50%. The rest is implementation and making it work. But with emotes and POTGs, it's linear sound design. And for us, it's like a little vacation.
Very much.
So we get to just kind of go nuts and have fun with it. And it's like a quick, like, bite-sized, like, treat for a sound designer.
Yeah. It's also nice when, after a hero cycle, when you're all done and we like optimize the sounds and everything's like working, then it's just like, it's sort of like,
it's the payoff.
Yeah, it's the payoff is you get to like play
hard work. Yeah.
and do all the extra like fun stuff at the end.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, because you're developing the kit as you're going along, making a hero. At the end of like the pipeline, the kit is done, and then all the animations come in, and now you're like, oh yeah, you have all these ingredients to just like go crazy and do linear sound design.
Right.
So we love working on that stuff.
We help out with cinematics and stuff too, so that's part of it as well. Not only
That's
just
true.
like,
We take our whole sound kit and then we give it to the cinematic sound designers who are like a whole different breed of sound designers. Like they're insane what they do.
Yeah.
And that is like maybe one of my favorite parts of doing this stuff, where like I remember like sending my Illari sounds to Brian Johnson, shout out, to work on the cinematic, and then he sends me back his wizardry, and it's just like, you made me sound so good, bro.
So,
Yeah.
Do you have any like highlights, like, oh, I love that VP, or I love that whatever victory pill?
I have a kind of a deep cut. I don't remember when we did this, but it was a Junkrat. He's like sipping on a cup. It's a little emote, and he's like drinking through a straw. And I'm sorry, I forgot who animated it, but the animator animated it in such a way that like his like drinking the straw matches the cadence of the Overwatch fanfare.
Oh my
God. Da, 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 da. So he's like, like, and so I took that and then I recorded myself like drinking from a straw, like, you know, at the very bottom when it's like gurgly.
Yeah.
And then I used pitch correction to like make it
Oh
like
my God.
the Overwatch fanfare theme. And then the best part was like, once that was out, going to Twitter and seeing people that caught it, and then people argue against it, like, no, you're crazy.
Yeah.
There's no way they did that.
Sometimes
so
you don't
really
think
fun.
it's gonna get caught, and then you like see people catch it on Twitter or wherever, and it's just like, that's crazy that you're seeing it that deep, because we're just doing it for fun, whatever.
Well, for the believers, it is real. The fanfare is
true,
real.
Conspiracies are true.
So I do know that you worked on the cardboard skins.
With Paul Lackey, my supervisor. So we were, the first cardboard skin was Reinhardt, and Paul shows up with just an ungodly amount of cardboard one day, and we take it to the foley room, and we're just doing all, like, every possible movement you can do with cardboard, like ripping it, big boxes, small boxes, banging them together. There's like footage of me somewhere doing like a full body slam onto like a pile of cardboard. And then the editing afterwards, like the amount of editing to cover everything, you know, all his foleys, footsteps, every ability in cardboard. Ton of work.
Yeah, I
and the
remember you
fact
doing
that it's called the budget skin, super ironic, because it's anything but budget. So that was super fun memory of like doing that.
That's great. So cardboard is just cardboard. Like, I guess you wouldn't, when you think of fancy editing software, I guess my first thought wouldn't really be using cardboard as like as a thing that you would use for a hero in Overwatch, right? Do you guys have like any weird things that you've used as a base for a sound?
All the time.
All the time.
Want to take this one?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, it's pretty common. I mean, we're always listening for, like, our ears are just tuned. Like when you work in this field, you're constantly listening for things. You know, you'll drop a cup and be like, oh, that could have been, you know, some sort of canister or something. And then, you know, you're always in tune to these kinds of things. So yeah, I don't know. Like for me, Foley's a thing. Like the movement sounds, and just trying to like find things that. I don't like recording the obvious things for the thing. It just, I want to do something cool and different. So I'm always like listening for like different fabrics and things to try and record for that. But yeah.
Yeah, you helped me out with Freya's cape. What was the thing that you brought?
It's a chamois.
Chamois
for like cars. Yeah.
What's a chamois?
It's like it's a piece of it's not leather. It's like suede, like a specific kind of suede, I think. But you like clean your car with it. It absorbs water. It's very absorbent.
I see.
But it doesn't. A lot of like cloth, and I'm sure you've experienced this. It has like a rubby, noisy sound to it, and it's just kind of annoying. So I've been looking for something that wasn't like that, or that was too textured, whatever. So the chamois have this like nice in between where it like implies cloth without it being like annoying. So I use it as like my default Foley sound if I'm doing something, and he found it useful for her cape because it snaps really, has a really snappy, yeah.
I just thought of one. On Venture, I had to figure out the energy inside their gun. Because it's like this blue like stuff, and you'll see it in like you'll see it in like the reload and the ult, like the gun will open up, and I'm like, okay, I want to do something like a signature for that, and it was just by happenstance. I was at home using a resistance band. It's like a big rubber band used for like stretching, and I'm stretching my hips, and I have my I'm like. So I have my legs like splayed. I'm like laying on my back, my legs splayed out like this with the resistance band like that, and I plucked it, and it went like it made a really cool like warble. And then I noticed like if I change the angle of my legs, it'll change the pitch of the warble. So it'll be like, and so we took that to the Foley room, and it was Brian Weers that'll be out here later that helped me with that, and like I just recorded it like. As I discovered it, like it did not try to change the process. I'm like on my back, legs in the air, just
poor Brian's like in there
poor
with
Brian
a mic.
is like just like the new guy, just like pointing a mic at me.
It's part of the job.
Hey,
paying his due.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So like stuff like that will happen all the time. Like I was not even, like it was an assignment I had at the time. The resistance band had nothing to do with it, but I just stumbled upon it, and I'm like, ooh, taking that to work. So that stuff happens all the time.
Speaking of the resistance bands, there is something that we have here in the office that we recorded a video for that I think would be really cool to show. It's a little cabinet where there are, including actually the rubber band that you use for
resistance
Ventures.
band is in there.
Yes, a bunch of little trinkets that I think will be cool for you guys to see. So play the video.
Segue.
Hi everybody, my name is Chris De La Pena. I'm Principal Sound Designer and Hero Audio Lead for Overwatch 2. And I wanted to introduce you guys to our Audio Relics cabinet. It's full of the many objects that we've used to help support our hero audio. Some of them are very literal in the sense of matching kind of the hero aesthetic, and some of them are more abstract. One of our main goals with hero audio is to make our heroes as immersive as possible and to give our players as much gameplay information in the form of audio cues. There's a lot to cover in hero audio design. From the many perspectives, when you're playing in first person as a hero, or what you hear coming from other players in the third person. A big part of making our heroes as immersive as possible is the unique sounds that we find to layer into their abilities and to their movement. So for example, we have our Sojourn shoe here where we glued a bunch of pennies on it to give it kind of a unique, kind of almost metal-like footstep when she lands. And then we have the rubber band that Felipe used for Venture to record and process to get some of the energy sounds behind Venture's abilities. So some of the objects that are really special to me are the two objects that I used to record some of Zenyatta's ability kit. So these first items are the Bouting Balls that I used for his Orbs of the Destruction, his primary and his secondary fire. You can actually hear there's a little bit of a ding when you shake them. And what I did was use these in his actual Orbs of Destruction, his primary fire and in his secondary fire. So when he's shooting his orbs, you'll hear that little ting of the bell sound off every time he fires. And then the Singing Bowl, which I used for Transcendence. It's a tonal sound that continues during the duration of the ultimate. And also down here at the bottom, we have Roadhog's meat grinder, and we use this during his whole hog ultimate. You can hear the turning of when he's shooting the scrap out of it. And the hook, chain hoist that I use to record his chain hook ability. You can hear a little bit of that chain action in his throw as he's throwing his hook towards his enemies. Whenever we're approaching a hero, the conceptual and the narrative aspect of the hero is super important, like when we're starting out, to really kind of find a connection between the audio and that conceptual direction that really kind of helps solidify the hero in the game space. And so with Zenyatta, very monk-based, very Eastern philosophical, very Zen. I mean, his name is Zenyatta, right? And so that pushed me to look for kind of similar objects in the world that I could record that kind of connect that realism to his character in the game. And so with audio design, a lot of it's sometimes literal, but a lot of it is more abstract. And so with Zenyatta, there was a literal element in there, but it's also kind of otherworldly aspect, the futuristic kind of element to him. And that kind of is brought through by the kind of tonal elements of the bowding and the singing bowl. Whereas with Roadhog, his whole thing is he's a junker, right? And so it's kind of trying to find a representation of that. And so the best thing we could find was like an antique, something that's older, that has older parts, that kind of gives that character to kind of support that he's a junker. It's a huge part of the hero process to kind of find those unique objects that support the unique aesthetic of the hero. I have one more thing to show you. So this is called a wind wand that I recorded recently for a hero that is in development. But I wanted to show you guys how it's used. So listen for that coming up soon, maybe. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and hope you enjoyed going over all the different relics we have, and we're super excited to add more relics as we support future heroes moving forward. Thanks a bunch.
All right, that was pretty cool video.
Chris.
Also,
Amazing.
who are you? Where
Hi.
are you?
Oh, me. I'm
Goodness.
Brian Weers. I'm a sound designer on the Overwatch team as well, working with Felipe and Nick. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Well, welcome, Brian.
Thank you, thank you.
To the stream. Nick has left for today, and now we have Felipe and Brian here today. So
Hey.
welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh,
So
thank
we
you.
watched a very cool cabinet video that is like right next to you guys' little workspaces.
Yeah, yeah. It sits. The cabinet's like right behind my desk, actually, in the hallway. It's my little pet project that I put together. Yeah, because we had the empty cabinet there, and I was like, man, like all the designers have these cool items in their rooms and stuff. It's like we could use it for something. So I bothered people about letting me take their stuff and put it in the cabinet and like make the little plaques and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a great addition.
Have you used any of the items in there yourself, or is it just like a little?
I'm trying to remember. We used to have an Argyle flute in there, which I used for the Reaper Mythic skin. That was used. Like we played it very poorly. We did not do the instrument justice, but we used that for the Mythic skin, and that was cool. That was in there for a little bit.
Yeah, it's curated. Things cycle through.
Wow.
They cycle
that's
through.
cool.
Felipe,
Yeah.
you have 2 full shelves on there.
Wow, that's amazing.
This guy.
And pretty soon you'll have some stuff in there too. Maybe.
Secret.
Maybe. secret?
Maybe.
Wait, my hair is covering my.
Well, no, it was super cool to see Chris go through that stuff. Chris de la Peña has been on the team like since the beginning, so he's responsible for like all these like iconic like original Overwatch characters, and so it's cool to see him get his flowers.
Yeah, that's
show off a
awesome.
little bit. So let's get some love for Chris DLP
Great
in the
dude.
chat.
Shout out Chris DLP.
Can't see the chat, but GG DLP.
GG DLP. No. GG
DLP.
D.
Don't
make
think
it
about it.
viral.
Don't
We'll
think
make
about it
it
too hard.
Okay.
It's okay.
I won't think about it. I won't think about it. That's what I do best. I just don't think.
I'm not paid to think.
I don't. You know what? I'm paid. I'm paid for many things. Thinking is not one of them. So, Brian, you said that you worked on the Mythic skin. What other stuff have you worked on the team?
Yeah, so like the past year or so, I've been largely working on Mythic skins, the Mythic weapon skins as well. I did a little bit of hero rework stuff, like the Wrecking Ball rework a while ago. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like the Mythic skins have been great, getting to explore different fantasies of Overwatch and bringing these characters to life. It's been great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Has there been like a highlight skin or a highlight moment that you can think of right now?
I mean, it almost feels like every skin that I get to work on just gets like a little bit cooler and cooler, in my opinion. It's a lot of fun working on it. Like the Soldier Mythic has been awesome. But then really, I think the Diva Mythic that I worked on was like probably really up there for me. Just getting to combine like the tiger sounds with like some spectral, spiritual elements, and then also just layering it with like an 808 EDM kick drum on top of it just to make it punch.
Yeah.
That stuff is a lot of fun to put together.
That's cool. We have a Reddit question I think that might be good for
One of us.
Oh,
Me.
gosh, no, not you.
No. I'll let Brian.
For Brian.
You got your time, bro.
Yeah, my
let's
brain
see.
is fried.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll just rest.
How many sounds is the audio engine capable of playing back simultaneously?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, like a technical.
The technical
Sorry.
question out of the blue. No,
Yeah,
it's,
we're
no, it's
jumping to
great.
a technical question.
It's great. No, this is a great question. Because I mean, yeah, like we have so many sounds playing at one time. Like we design sounds for every footstep and just all these different things. And I mean, it's not just sound, but also what we call voices in the engine. So like one sound for maybe like a foley movement can have like 3 different layers to it that are playing through the sound engine. So there's all the like hundreds of sounds like within seconds. But our system, usually on I believe PC, we're at around I think it was 200 something like that, like voices that you can have. But then it scales with the specs of the system that you're on. So like consoles and things maybe have a little bit less. I think that so like anywhere from like 60 to 200 at a time. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're hearing all of those at one time because of the different priority systems that we have in place. Yeah, so there's a little nerd drop for you.
We love nerd drops. We love nerd drops. So there's a question for you now. Now you can be happy and answer a question from me.
Yeah.
You look so.
I'm proper.
He's just happy to be here.
I'm a normal
we're
human
just happy to
being,
be
yo.
here. Yes.
I'm not weird at all.
No, not at all. I've never thought that in my life. Let's see. There's a question from Reddit. Voice lines are always top-notch. Not certain if it counts for audio, but how do you make the voice lines bleed through the combat noise so well to be heard?
In general, especially when we're talking about like ult voice lines, because it's super important for players to hear that. They're going to be just volume-wise super loud, above everything else. But we have an important system where like different aspects of the soundscape will have a number assigned to it. That's its importance, and that'll dictate what gets ducked volume-wise, and certain things get ducked so low because they're so low in priority that they'll become a virtual voice and you won't hear them at all. They won't even play. So that happens when you like pop your ult, for example. Like voice is a priority, then everything else, and it's a way more complicated system than I can like describe now on the couch. But that's a Scott question.
You did great. You did great.
Thanks, dude. But yeah, that's basically what's going on behind the hood. Under the hood, whatever, on a very basic level.
Right. How is the timing for alt voice lines decided? Because I feel like it's kind of getting away from me, but I feel like some heroes say the line and then they ult, or they kind of say it at the same time, or is it kind of like interspersed? Like how do you decide that?
I mean, so they're all designed. We implemented them to play right on cue. when when the button is pressed, things like that. But it all depends on the design of the ultimate and things. Like Zarya's, the projectile gets shot out first, so maybe the projectile sound doesn't get heard. But sound is like such a subjective thing, It's like it's so hard when you're in the moment. You can think that you hear something, but then it just plays differently, or you hear it differently, or different frequencies mesh and just kind of mask things. So it's really hard sometimes to get a read, right? Because like if you have a model, a 3D model that you're looking at, an animation, you can play it back and look at it in detail, zoom in on stuff. With sound, like the mix in game in real time, trying to mix that is tough. There's a lot of challenges with that. Yeah, old line timing should be consistent.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's just right when you hit the button, it plays. Yeah. But for sound, depending on the animation, that'll have more variance. Right. Because of what you just said.
A lot of things in play there.
Cool. Yeah. So for you, Felipe, actually, that you've been on the team for a little longer. Let's see, this is a question. Where is it? Years ago, the audio team said that the sound when you hit an enemy is actually the noise of a bottle being opened. Is that true? And what about the sound of headshots?
That is true. I believe that's probably a Paul decision.
Good old Paul Lackey.
Paul. Chill dude. My supervisor.
Chillest dude.
Such a Paul thing to be like, just put a sound of a beer opening. I just got fired. Because it's like a quick, satisfying sound, and it's in that register. It's like, yeah. What a cool, like, out of the box decision that I was not here to see, but like super cool.
Yeah.
As far as the headshot sound, I think it actually got redesigned for Overwatch 2, and I don't exactly know, but what it is. It's more like designy, There's more going on there, and there's like little chimey aspects to it because it's like ding 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 ding. So short answer is I don't know.
I see. So there are many sounds in gameplay that are shared throughout heroes like that, headshot and hitting certain things. Is there like, I guess I'm just wondering like how the meetings, I guess, go for those sounds that are shared, that are not like hero specific or play the game specific or whatever, but they're more like a general sound that will always be there in the game, even menu sounds, stuff like that. Like how is the thought process of that?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the shared sounds, like UI sounds, like we got to shout out Joe Concha for sure. He's one of the technical sound designers on our team. He's been handling a lot of the UI stuff. Sean Minot, he's done a lot of UI things. But yeah, there's like a lot of standardization in some of the sounds, especially UI stuff. I mean, because making new menus and things like that stuff, it can be reused in a lot of different ways. Yeah, I mean, then also in like the hero side of things, when we decide to reuse sounds for certain stuff, it's when we kind of run into moments of like, oh, this is coming up again and again. Maybe it's time that we have some sort of shared sound for it. Like, the healing, that was discovered very early on.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff happens organically.
It does.
It's like you start off with one character that does something, and then down the line you have, oh, they're kind of doing a similar thing. Should we just reuse that sound? And like players will already be primed to recognize it, and so that happens throughout the lifespan of the game.
Yeah, but then you have certain moments where a hero, like that previous sound doesn't necessarily fit the character of the new one, and so you're trying to massage it and like process it in some different ways that it still keeps the character, but it still keeps the original goal of the sound and like how it fits in the frequency range and in the mix, but give it the flavor of the hero. Like there are a lot of the healing impact sounds. It uses a lot of similar elements from other heroes, but they have some sort of flavor on it, like Illari and Wu Yang and like even Juno and stuff like that.
Yeah, we do have free reign to like take a shared sound and then put a different spin on it to match that character. I believe like Nick did that on Juno.
Has there been instances of, especially you that you've worked on heroes before, that a hero is launched with a specific set of sounds, like the kit and everything, and throughout the lifespan of the hero, it might have had to be adjusted?
Oh yeah, that is like our bread and butter. The mix of the game is never static. It's never set in stone. With every patch, and you'll see with Scott's video soon about in the mix room, we're looking at the mix of the game overall and balancing and tweaking and listening to feedback, and it's always in flux. And it's all in the pursuit of creating a balanced experience and not having one character too loud or yeah, so it's always, and what happens a lot is like we'll release a new hero and maybe the aesthetic of that hero is just like the sounds are more punchy, like it just fits that fantasy, and it'll like poke out more in game, in the same way that maybe a hero might be a little overtuned when it comes out, like by design or by not, or by happenstance. So that can happen, but generally before we put anything out, we try to we will look at all the heroes' like weapon fire and abilities and try to keep it in the same realm.
Are there like any kinds of noises that you usually want to make, I don't know if louder is the right word, but you know, you have footsteps, you have a gun firing, you have stuff, and even, you know, for Mythics as well, because we have like a full override on pretty much everything when it comes to a Mythic, right? Are there any sounds that you want to make sure, like 100%, that you know what it is when it's released?
Yeah, I mean, I think for heroes, a lot of that is what, like the goal of what we're trying to do, right? Is like the kit needs to have that sonic identity, you know, play by sound, whatnot.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to inject that sort of like iconicness. What's the word? Uniqueness? Whatever you say. Yeah. To like all the different sounds, but it's tough, right? It's like especially getting like over 40 heroes now.
Yeah.
You know, you run into a lot of the same problems, but they're somehow still unique to that hero, which is exciting.
Touching on that, like that's why with each hero, we're trying to find like new things to record to make stuff from scratch. Because I could grab library sounds and make something that sounds cool, but like maybe that stuff has been used in all kinds of different media, and we're trying to make every hero sound like its own identity. So that's where we, you know, that's kind of why we work in this way. You know, we try to do everything like very bespoke, very unique, and try to think outside the box a little bit to, you know, to get the results that we do.
Yeah, now that you mentioned, you know, recording sounds, how is the process of, you know, you hear a thing and you want to use it for an ability, like the rubber band thing?
Sorry? How was the... I just blanked out for a second.
No, it's okay. Lock in, Felipe, lock in. Look at me.
Explain like I'm 5.
Okay, you hear something in the wild.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I want to record that and have it in the game.
Yes.
What is the process of the recording of the sound?
We take it to the Foley room.
And what is the Foley room?
Oh, are we about to cut to a clip?
I think so.
Cut to a clip.
Cut to the clip of the Foley room, please.
Oh, no. Sorry, production.
Hey everyone, I'm Felipe Pereira. I'm a senior sound designer on the Overwatch team, and today we find ourselves in the Foley room here at Blizzard campus. This is the room where we get to record things and really experiment with audio. Most of the time we're at our desks, we're working in the build, we're doing all that stuff, but every once in a while, particularly when we're working on new heroes, we'll come in here and experiment with different props that we bring from home and just see what sounds we can get out of them, and all in the pursuit of getting really unique source that we can use for our heroes. So I'm here with Chris de la Peña.
Hi, everybody.
And we're gonna just rummage through and see what we find in here. There's a lot of history in this room because what ends up happening is when sound designers come in here and record props, we tend to just leave it here. And so as we rummage around, like we'll just find stuff that we used years ago and it'll unlock a bunch of memories. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do in here. And just go through some stuff and see what stories we can find in here. So let's just get to digging, dude.
Yeah, sounds good. This bucket of random metal stuff is a lot of the scrap that we recorded for Roadhog's scrap cannon. So there's a lot of different little metal pieces in here, and it was nice and jingle-jangly. So to get kind of the right tone and right sound for Roadhog's scrap cannon when he stuffs it into the chamber and when he shoots off his rounds. So maybe he grabs the scrap and he kind of slams it into the chamber. Maybe the scrap is falling. More individual pieces. Yeah, so then we take all that stuff, all that recording, and we kind of pepper it around his kit to to give him that kind of that unique sound of the scrap that he uses for his weapon.
When you saw that box there, is this the actual stuff you used for Roadhog?
Yeah.
Just like left here all these years?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's added.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this heavier stuff I didn't use.
Right.
So it was just like the smaller stuff.
That's crazy. That's crazy, like how readily available it was. Should we just keep digging?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Keep digging.
So this, I don't know who brought this.
It's been here forever.
Was this like the actual doorknob to the room at some point? I don't know.
I think it was.
But this has been here for a long time, and we just found out like beforehand that on the most recent heroes that we cannot mention right now that we're working on, both Chris and I separately found this like, hey, and like recorded it.
It's so good. It's so good. It sounds so good.
Why is this good, Chris? Explain to the people why an old doorknob is good for sound design.
It's all about the different kind of thickness of metal parts and it being broken, like in the spirit of a true junker, right? Yeah. It being broken actually kind of like makes it sound better because all the pieces are very loose, and so you get this kind of lots of pieces working together, and there's some tonal bits, kind of the ding, 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 and then there's the kind of more kind of subdued kind of little movements. But the reason this is really good for like armor and foley movement of somebody with armor running around is because there's different layers, there's different thicknesses of different parts in here. So it really gives the idea that somebody's running around with a bunch of different kind of articulated armor pieces and they're kind of moving together, right?
Yeah. On the idea that like the more something is kind of jangly and broken, the more character you can get out of it. I'm gonna walk over here and just grab this crossbow. So I was in here experimenting with some sounds for Freya, and I bought this like just straight up on the internet, on Amazon. It's a real crossbow. And I thought like, hey, I'm just gonna get a real crossbow because she has a crossbow and I'll get some sounds out of it. But if you'll notice, like it's brand new, it's mostly made out of plastic. It barely, nothing is like loose here. Nothing is broken, it doesn't jingle. So like, there's no character. There's no character to this. It's completely silent. And I also thought like, okay, like what does the actual like firing of it sound like? Because like maybe I can use that as a layer. It's like a snap, you know, it's like there's really nothing there. And so that's kind of like an important lesson as well for Foley. It's like if I had like knocked this around or like broken it or gotten like a really old crossbow that's just kind of falling apart, I'd probably get more out of that. And also to not go like actually too literal with things, because we'll often find that if we go really literal with our source, you're not going to find the character you're looking for. A lot of it is like made through stuff like this, you know, like you'll take things that like have nothing to do with what you're trying to emulate, put them together, process them, and you'll kind of create the fantasy of what that is.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the creativity lies, is finding unintuitive objects that kind of you record and then intuitively they really match the character, the hero's aesthetic.
I'm here with Brian Weers now.
Howdy.
And we're gonna just keep rummaging through some stuff and see what we find.
Let's find some stuff, dude.
Let's find some stuff, bro.
What are you thinking?
Okay, well, I'm not gonna pretend like we're stumbling upon this. I wanna talk about this right away. This piece of sidewalk here, I'm gonna drag it out.
Careful. Squat, don't use your back.
It's really heavy.
There you go. You got it, you got it.
Okay, so this flipped over like that. So our supervisor, Paul Lackey, he years ago saw some construction happening here around campus, and he saw that there was just a loose piece of sidewalk and just asked if he could keep it, and he brought it in here, I don't know how, with the help of 40 men, because it's freaking heavy.
And a wheelbarrow.
We have used this piece of sidewalk to record footsteps for every Overwatch hero that has footsteps. So it really is like, it belongs in a museum.
It does belong in a museum.
It's like,
this has been used, I remember when I was an intern using this to help record Malga footsteps. I've seen you use it for Freya, for Venture, for just like every
Illari.
single hero.
Yeah.
I'm sure this has been used for just about every single one.
And it was cool because like, the idea, like, why would we bring a slab of concrete to the Foley room? Because we want the texture of flat concrete on different shoes. But we don't want all the ambient noise of recording that outside. So having this in the Foley room is a really useful way to just get like really clean recordings of footsteps. And I've had like really fun interactions with, I've brought like some guests here that are visiting campus that are like fans of the game. And I've told them about the sidewalk, and like, depending on what shoe you use, like it can like kind of trigger a memory of like a hero that you recognize, because like, you know, like we've used all kinds of shoes on this. So like, it is very likely like whatever shoe you place on this, you'll like, it might remind you of
A
like
character will pop out.
Yeah. And especially in our game where like hearing footsteps is actually a super important part of gameplay. So like this ends up being like a really prominent sound in the overall mix of the game.
This rock has been in the game.
This rock is the
Many
game.
times.
This is Overwatch.
This is Overwatch. Got it? All right. This bad boy. Isn't it beautiful?
It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, so this washing machine lid, you can see it's a washing machine by all this stuff here. This has been used for years. And like most recently, our buddy Donovan used it for some Mythic cosmetics. So our audio director, Scott Lawler, they broke apart a whole washing machine in his garage, and they just beat the hell out of it. So they basically made it look like this. But you can get some really fascinating sounds from it. Like if we have a metal piece here, like a pan of some sorts, you can just, and maybe if you make it spin, yeah, wait. There you go.
Yeah.
So basically hitting metal while it's hanging from something is awesome. That's the moral of the story with this one.
We're scientists.
If you want to
This is
put
real
that,
technical stuff.
if you want to put that in the textbook,
Try to follow along.
yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Make sure you're taking notes. No, yeah. Hanging a piece of metal like that, like, will basically ensure that you're getting all the resonance out of it without muting it with your hand. So there's other pieces of metal here that have been used across all kinds of stuff. This slab I used on Imperius on Heroes of the Storm. I think I used a bit of this on Illari.
I also use this for the Reaper Mythic,
That's right.
some of his stuff.
And so what we can get out of something like this, we'll twist the rope, and then we'll smack the metal, and the spinning of the metal will create a natural tremolo, which sounds really cool and magical.
One thing they don't tell you is that sometimes recording stuff requires a lot of muscles. Holding something up like that.
That's why they hired me.
That's why they got them.
No, no, actually, okay, so that is like a good, not the muscle, but like the fact that like if we're recording this, like either we're hanging it or someone's holding it and they're like holding their breath, because our mics will pick up everything.
Everything.
So in between, like if you just get our raw recordings, you'll just hear like the sound and then like that's like all recordings like tend to sound like that, because you have to hold your breath or it's gonna like be in the recording.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's that.
That's the metal slab.
I was with Donovan one time. We were just, for a while, we would just come in here and find some random thing to record. And so sometimes you just need to record something, just something like dumb, you know? Just something to get the creative juices flowing. And sometimes it takes a plastic skeleton that's just...
Did you actually record this?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so you just record it and you like,
What did you use it for?
I don't know yet. I think it's
just
one of
haven't used
those
it yet.
it's one of those sounds that you just record, you process it, and then you hope that maybe one day you use it for something. I've yet to find something for it, but
That's beautiful. It'll find a home in our game.
it's sitting in my library, and maybe Halloween update.
I think me, you, Donovan, and Paul were in here recording this for the Peru map. It came straight from Peru, and it just makes a cool like animalistic sound. And we recorded a bunch of different takes and used that for like little animal calls in the ambience of Runasapi.
Yeah, so basically there's water in here, in the reservoir, and as you tilt it forward, you get some whistles.
That's the good one.
That's the good one.
And if you cover, I remember we covered that with our finger. Yeah, to get the chirps.
Crazy. Come on.
When I was working on Illari, because there was a big emphasis on her Quechuan and Peruvian origins, and so I wanted to use Peruvian things in her kit to build the sound of her solar powers. So the first thing I did is I ordered just like a variety of Peruvian instruments, and I ended up using the canna flute the most, but because I didn't know how to play it, but I wanted air to move through it, I decided to tie it on a string and spin it around so I can generate a pitch moving through the cavity of this flute. So if you'll give me some space, what I did the day of, I just set up my mics like kind of like that, like pointing on this plane, and I just like kneeled down and spun it. And just got a bunch of that kind of source, and it was kind of perfect for her kit because it generated some kind of tone, some kind of pitch. So when I processed that, you can kind of connect it like to like this kind of light solar power like really easily. And also like because it's spinning, it has that natural tremolo, and a lot of her abilities are like shooting like a solar orb that like spins. So like I got a lot of really good stuff out of just spinning this flute. So that's the story of the flute.
Tying stuff to strings is kind of the
That is-
motif here.
That is like a staple in sound design.
Yeah.
It's like, can I spin it?
Can I spin it in the air? It'll make something cool.
So I hope you had fun with us, checking out the random junk, random artifacts and treasures here in the Foley room.
The treasures. Let's be real.
Yeah, looking forward to recording a lot more in here, and hopefully providing a lot more behind the scenes at different objects that we bring in here. So back to you on the couch.
Back to us on the
to us
couch.
on the couch. Wow.
And we have a new friend with us today. Would you like to
Hello.
introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name's Donovan Robinson. I'm a sound designer on Overwatch 2, and literally I got here 2 years ago, just past 2 years, so it's been an exciting ride, and I've learned a bunch of stuff, so it's fun.
Congratulations on your 2 years, dude.
Yeah!
Congratulations.
It's been fun.
All right. Well, Foley room. I don't think I've ever, no, I'm lying. I have seen that room before. Felipe once invited me to step on some concrete with different kinds of shoes, which was very interesting, honestly.
Yep.
What is like the weirdest thing that you've ever found in the Foley room?
Oh, weirdest thing, let's think.
Like you see it and it's
Yeah,
like,
there's a bunch of random things.
There's a lot of like different like wind chimes and stuff. You have
Yeah.
like shell chimes and like random bells and like weird toys that look like they're from the 50s.
Yeah, definitely a
but
bunch of stuff
that-
that's just like really rusty.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, there's like a
you
weird.
didn't touch that.
Yeah.
There's a weird like rusty like spring-loaded mixer thing that I think the WoW team was using at some point.
What was that one thing that the Heroes team used that one time? That was like the little that had the little cable string on it. That had,
Oh,
like,
the springs?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of things that people make and just toss in there, or things people just find in the dumpster and just like bring it into the Foley room to get recorded later.
So you can just like grab something weird, just dump it in there, and that's it?
Yeah, that's literally how.
Someone will find a use for it.
I kind of love that. Okay. So you guys have worked on Mythics, you guys have worked on like collab skins, stuff like that. When I try to picture, something going from the initial phase to a final, because of what I do, I usually picture first like concept art, like an illustration. So I'm wondering how it is, or like what the equivalent would be of a sketch in sound design, and like what you start with. We talked a little bit about it with Felipe and with Nick earlier, but what would be, I guess, like the equivalent of a sketch, and then refining the sketch and then having the final result in sound design?
Yeah, so it's usually like for me, a lot of the times it's just like first looking at that concept art, and you can sort of get like an idea of like, okay, it's got a bunch of fire things in it, or maybe it has a bunch of like void energy or all these other things in it. So it's like, I know I need this type of ingredient in whatever I'm going to make. So it's usually making that first pass of void source or that first pass of fire source where it's like, we need some really cool sounding energy of whatever it might be, and then once we get some cool source of what that might be, we can then start turning it into like impacts or maybe explosions, gunfire, all these different things, and then we can combine that together, just make something really awesome.
Yeah, so you have, you know, those initial phases. Do you guys, like, again, I pull a lot of references, I guess, from concept art, because that's what I'm more familiar with.
Sure.
But when you are exploring a new kind of sound, do you guys like also scour through, you know, the internet and record things yourself and have it kind of a, like, oh, I want to make an explosion, and then you look for a movie that has an explosion and you save that as a reference?
100%. Yeah, all the time. Like it's similar to like if you're developing like was it like a mood board? You know,
Yeah,
mood
no,
table,
that's
things
exactly
like that.
what we use. Yeah.
Yeah, we do something similar with heroes and with mythic skins and things like that. It's, you know, trying to find the vibe that you want to get, that you want to capture, and then finding other sources that have done it really well and trying to like take inspiration from that and fuse it with like the Overwatch universe, how we can.
Yeah, especially because like a lot of the times, like I'm still like new to the team, so it's like first time me trying to create like fire, for example, is like I don't know exactly how to make the best fire, but I need to go grab references from other media or games that I play a lot and just be like, how does their fire sound? How can I sort of get that really clean, polished sound for the fire and like sort of turn it into my own type of thing, right?
And I also assume also, you know, checking other fire stuff that we've done in Overwatch.
100%. Yeah.
Do you guys have like a lot of, I mean, you two are mid-level, right? Like mid-level designers?
Yeah.
Do you guys have like regular, do you guys have like regular check-ins with, you know, your directors and stuff like that to see how, you know, like to get a lot of feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
100%, yeah.
at all levels of the team, like everyone is constantly looking for feedback at certain stages. Everyone has their flow. Everyone has their workflow, like how, you know, just like how even like music producers, how they work. They like to work solo on their own, make it sound good, and then get feedback, or you like to jam with other people or whatnot. Like everyone has their different style of how they like to work. And the Overwatch team is very vibe based in that sense.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But we do have like regular feedback sessions with each other. We have play tests every week. You know, we try and incorporate a lot of ideas from everyone else, because like when you're neck deep working on a hero, you can kind of get really like siloed and put the blinders on. But then as soon as you open it up to feedback from other people, it just can totally open up and you realize like, I totally forgot about this one part of the sound, or like this part is just hitting too much, or whatever it is. So yeah, a lot of different.
No, it's a lot of times I'm usually going over to like Nick or Felipe. I'm just like, how the heck do I make this? Like, I don't understand. Like a lot of times it's like, how do I make sort of fantasy sounds or like all this twinkly stuff? I'm like, first of all, a lot of times it's like, I don't know what type of thing I would even need to like record.
Right.
So because like a lot of times you don't want to just go to the foley room, for example, and just like start recording anything, because a lot of times you don't know what it might turn into, and it might not even be close to like what you really want. So a lot of times I'm going to like Nick or Felipe or Sean, Chris, like, hey, what types of things can I grab from our library? We have like a library of a bunch of sounds. What type of things, like metal hits or whatever, can I grab from the library that might get me close towards the end result that I want? And they usually have like really great advice, like, oh, you know, if you take a little example of like a mythic weapon, if you take like a metal piece and you just tie it to something, you hit it really hard and you have it start spinning, you can get like really cool sort of fantasy, high energy type of thing going on. And it's
Like a
yeah, literally, and it's doing that and just asking people who I know are better than me, just like for advice, like how can I sort of make something that's really good, right?
It's not hard finding people who are better than you here.
Yeah, for sure.
You can go across the street. You can
Don't
go
sell
to just
yourself
about any
short.
office.
You guys have worked on such cool things.
No, it's because I really look up to like everyone here, so it's just like you're kind of like talking to like the goats, pretty much. Just, like, I really
Everyone's
look
got
up
their
to
strengths, you know.
Yeah,
Everyone's got something they're
absolutely.
really good at. You can pick their brain about
Yeah.
it.
So I mean, now you say the strengths. Nick before mentioned that, or Felipe mentioned that Nick's strength is like
Yeah.
he was boasting about it, but synthesizers. Do you guys have like a style of thing that you like to do, like a style of sound, like organic, metallic, or like something like that?
I'd say I'm like really lazy. So it's like, I don't want to have to do any type of Foley recording at all if I can. So a lot of times I'm going to the library and I'm just like, okay, what can I turn whatever this is in the library into what I need to, right? So I'm just like, oh, this is like a metal hit, so I'll just EQ only the high end of it. And then, oh, I have this really cool watery sound, but I only like the low parts of it. So I'll just take that and I'm just sort of combining these things together. And if it's really needed, then I'll go record something, right? But a lot of times I just like working from getting whatever I can from the library. And just,
You know what? I would call that efficient and resourceful.
True.
Efficient and resourcel. Efficient and resourceful.
No, you're right.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say what my style would be because I feel like I'm really all over the place. I think creative design stuff is actually like not one of my strong suits. The nerd drop earlier I think showed the technical side is like really where my brain is sometimes. No. But
Dr. Weers.
yeah. And so I really try and explore all the different kind of avenues. So like I'll start with a lot of recorded stuff from the library or whatnot, or think about what real world items you could use and record. Also going to people who have a lot of experience and trying to be efficient in that manner and like get their thoughts. But then also trying to use synthesizers where I can, like with the Diva Mythic, that like 808 bass drum, whatever, just making that with a synthesizer and then just being able to layer it in there, like super clean, is really helpful. So there's a lot of different skills that you can use. Like I make music on the side a little bit just as a hobby, and so transferring skills from that into the sound design is really helpful.
It's kind of surprising like how much music stuff actually goes into sound design, especially with like bass drop, warble things, those type of things. It's like you hear that so often nowadays. It's really cool, but it's kind of awesome to kind of see like how it transitions from music over to like this career field.
That's cool. Now that you make that sound, actually, I remember that I was going to ask you guys like the same, a similar question from before. So my question to you guys would be, what is your favorite like sound that you can make yourself? Like a whoop, whoop, whoop.
Wait, like with our mouth?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm putting you guys on the spot.
Every time I do a fist bump, you do a. I like that. It's very simple.
Usually just like the cheesy gun sounds. I love doing
like the Western, like 60s.
Like Cassidy's.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not very good at doing those, but okay, thank you for your answer.
Of course.
Well, that is also part of like our job too, because like we have to, a lot of times when we get feedback or give feedback, we have to describe in interesting ways how things should sound. Like they should sound sharp or it should sound aggressive. And also sometimes just like voicing it with your mouth too. It's just like, how can we describe to someone else how something should sound and give the feedback that we really need to, right?
For sure. So you, I think Donovan, you have worked on a couple of collabs at this point, weapon collabs. What has been like a latest one that you really liked?
The latest one I really liked was definitely probably the Nerf one.
Yeah.
But that one was extremely hard. Like just getting all of those different Nerf toys and just like having to record and shoot all of them and then take the, like, we were recording for maybe like 20, 30 minutes on each one, right? And then take all these different gunshots and compress them into different things I can turn into gunshots and everything. It took like forever. But the end result, it sounds super good.
You did great. It sounds amazing, yeah.
So for Genji's sword, did you actually get like the sword and like...
I don't think Genji actually has like a Nerf type of weapon. Person, like I think Reaper has one.
Oh,
as well.
right,
But
yeah.
Genji, a lot of times you have to be like less literal with things you record, and I think for that one I just took like a PVC pipe and just sort of just literally just that and combined it with other things. Like it's weird because the Nerf stuff I had to be like really creative with how to get it to sound really plasticky and kind of like it's almost a toy, right? And I think one I also really struggled with, but it sounded really good in the end, was May's sort of like Super Soaker.
Yeah.
Where I remember Paul was sort of like telling me how it should sound, and I was just sort of staring at him like, huh? Like how he was saying that it should be like if you took a water bottle or a squeeze bottle and you're like spraying it, it's like, and it should just sound like that the whole time, right? And I'm just like, how am I gonna make that sound really exact? Like it should sound like squeaky at the same time while you're sort of like pumping in, like the internal mechanics of it are like pumping water out, right? And I remember the sound that I eventually landed on was like a wine bottle like cork. Like if you like rub them together, it makes like a little squeaky sound. But like combining that with like a bunch of other layered squeaky noises gives you that type of sound that it really works for like a lot of the Nerf stuff.
That's cool.
I think that's like really representative of how with collabs and things we're not just trying to like represent the franchise, but also like the emotional response to it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like not just like a literal one-to-one, but we're trying to evoke whatever feelings you may have when interacting with that.
Yeah, like
IP
when
or
I was
whatnot.
a kid, like how did the Nerf's gun sound?
Yeah, like how did it really, how clicky
Yeah.
did it really feel and
Yeah.
all that,
Like, how does it feel holding it and doing like a little
Yeah.
bunking someone with a
Yeah,
PVC
literally,
pipe, I guess.
Just make it sound fun, right?
Yeah. So you've actually said a couple words that piqued my interest. I think you said like squeaky and something else, and also Felipe and Nick use certain like words to describe sounds. So if right now I try to come up with words to describe like a sound, there's only so many that I can think of. So when you're working on a new kind of sound for a thing that doesn't really like exist in the real world, like a Diva Mythic stuff or like Anna's Mythic weapon, like they kind of exist, I guess. Like they're like a robot and this kind of like weapon, but also it's something that you've never seen before. So you only have like words to describe it. How do you get directed with words to reach a sound?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it is it's just using adjectives that you're already familiar with.
Yeah, no, that's
Like I think most people are familiar with it already, but it's just understanding like the connotations with it and its like cultural connection in a way, I guess. It's like if I say like something sounds spectral
or crunchy.
Yeah,
and then you can kind of get like an impression of like what frequency range that might sit in.
Yeah.
Right? If it's crunchy, it's sort of like in the lower end, or muddy, like we get
muddy,
that
yeah.
one a lot.
But then also like not just like actual like textural words or things, but also like emotional adjectives. So if we want something to sound heroic, right? It's like we want things to sound heroic, we want them to sound spooky, or we want them to sound fierce or aggressive. Like those sort of emotional responses usually kind of elicit some sort of connection you have with like previous media or whatnot.
Like if something's you want like a spooky sound for something that's like you're probably gonna have like weird voices in it or whatever. If it's heroic, you might have like a horn or something.
Yeah, something
like
sounding like holy. You
Yeah.
think of World of Warcraft. Yeah.
Or is it spooky like a
Yeah, exactly.
like,
Or like, ooh. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like I can be a sound designer.
You got
Yeah.
it. That's all you need.
Thank you. I'm leaving tech art. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, y'all. We got her.
Let's see. I think we can ask a technical question, Brian. I think you would be happy about that. Let's
Yippee.
see. There's one of the
Keep me
questions
out
that
of
we got from. Sorry, Donovan.
Yeah, Winston. Winton.
Let's see. Okay. For players on PC, when wearing a headset, what is the official recommendation from the Overwatch team on how to listen? Do we turn on Windows Spatial sound? Do we combine that with the Dolby setting in the Overwatch menu? Or do we pick one versus the other?
Great question. So, I mean, like, well, we're going to hear from our audio director here in a bit, but to give you a little bit of a preamble, I mean, the Dolby Atmos for headphone setting for Overwatch works great, and it's all built into our systems, and it's really all preference. Like listening on normal headphones with no additional settings, like that's totally fine. That Dolby Atmos for headphones gives you some of that spatialization technology, and it filters the audio in different ways that even when listening on just like a 2D setup where you just have left and right or just stereo, you can get a simulated like spatial surround sound feel. And so, I mean, it's recommended that you turn that on. It helps a lot with like pinpointing footsteps. You can hear when someone's behind you and above you or even below you, what room they're in, things like that. And then for actual settings, I mean, you can just turn that on in the settings. You don't need the Windows Sonic. You don't need like other external spatial audio settings. If you just turn on the Dolby Atmos for headphones, I mean, that's the simplest and easiest way to start utilizing that. And yeah, you don't need like the additional surround features of like any headset or anything that can actually sometimes interfere with the Dolby Atmos for headphones. Yeah, it works great. I mean, we have all sorts of other spatialization features in our game that aren't just with Dolby Atmos as well, like with our quad delay system and our reverb, convolution reverbs and things, which we can get into at some point. But yeah, so that hopefully answers the question for that that
Hey,
user.
I'm sure it does.
Right on.
Whoever asked, I'm sure it answers the
I was
question.
gonna say shout out to all the technical sound designers. 'Cause,
Yes.
Like without them.
Shout out all the technical sound designers.
Super
Justin.
Super Joe, yeah. Justin's always the first one to shout out, like, are they using an external surround source? If they are, then turn that off.
Okay, I got another tech question. If you also want to jump in on any
Let's hear
of these, for players. Oh wait, no, this is the. Where is it?
Oh no.
Oh gosh, sorry. Okay, here we go. What gets prioritized when the engine has too many sounds to play back? Do you have any performance challenges to overcome when dealing with high-end PCs versus low-end PCs?
In game dev, there's always performance problems. Always performance challenges. But yeah, so similar to what we were talking about before, where like there's a max sort of voice count for our game, which we put around 200 for like higher end stuff. Yeah, so like we have different ranges for low end and high end, but our priority system, which is, I believe was coined the importance system. There's a whole talk about it from our audio director and audio engineer at the time for Audio Kinetic, which is Wise, the middleware that we use for our game. Yeah, so our importance system is built into our engine, and it basically takes all the different data of the players in the game. So it takes like how far away they are from you, what angle they're looking at you, like are they shooting right now? Are they shooting at you? Like are they a hero who can do damage from far away? Are they more of a melee character? We take all these different things into account, and they just get turned into numbers basically. And so we add and do math to figure out, all right, all these different parameters. We figure out the numbers for them, and then we put them in a list. And so that list holds a certain number of heroes at once. I think it's like 10 or something, 7, something like that. And they get ordered in priority and in terms of importance. And that is largely what we use to determine whether a sound gets played or not. So, you know, sometimes things happen, sometimes it blips a little bit, but that system has been in the game since Overwatch 1, and it has served us very well for a long, long time.
No, I was also going to say, like, we also have to, like, take into account, like, performance with, like, even just designing sounds and getting it into Wise, because we have, like, I know Paul gets on our case all the time if we have too many voices playing. So, like, say if we have, like, Moira's heal, for example, like, it might have, like 4 or 5 layers in there, but when we're first creating it, we might put like 10 layers in there. But eventually it's got to get compressed down, and we got to like optimize it so that there's not like 10 voices playing every time you shoot out Moira's heal, right?
Yeah.
And just like doing all that optimization. Also, Paul gets on our case all the time about, you know, we have to make sure that we're cutting out all the silence every time at the end of every file. Every audio file we put into the game, there needs to be like as little silence as possible. So we have to go through everything we make and make sure that like it's like as clean as possible, like every time.
So I think Felipe and Nick, maybe somebody mentioned the mix room, which is a mythical room, I guess, where you can control a bunch of things at the same time.
Fantasyland, yeah.
We have a video for that that we can play right now.
Hey everyone, come on in. Want to give you a tour of the Team 4 audio mix room. So if you've seen audio mix rooms before, this may be a little bit different than what you're used to seeing. You normally have the big audio board. This room was really developed for something a bit different. This is more around getting the team together, reviewing our content, and mixing the game, making sure that it always sounds really good. So if you look around the room, you can see there's a whole lot of speakers. So there's 8 speakers right around us, and you can see even 4 overhead. So this is a way that we can mix for spatial audio. So you may look at this and go, wow, that's a lot. I'm never gonna have that at home. It's a fair criticism, but this is the high-end format that we mix for so that we could bring it to all the different ways that audio is delivered across the game. So one, if you do have a high-end setup like this at home, Overwatch is ready to accommodate with something that's gonna sound really good. But there's a lot of new ways that spatial audio is brought to people these days. One, you could go get a sound bar that attempts to reflect sound off your ceiling to give you a more immersive format. There's upward firing drivers on speakers, but most importantly, spatial audio is also brought to people through headphones these days. So you may have seen this through like the different companies that are doing spatial audio over headphones, but we have been one of the first to ever support it in the game. So back in 2016, when we launched Overwatch 1, we were the first game to have Dolby Atmos for headphones built into the game. So if you haven't tried it, I beg you, go to your sound settings on PC, go to the spatial audio section and try out the Dolby Atmos setting. The reason that I think it's so important is it brings this type of setup over a regular pair of headphones using really fancy tricks like psychoacoustics. So what that means is that when you're playing the game and a Widowmaker is hitting you from the back left, you will be able to tell. And it'll take you maybe a little bit to get used to it because it does change how the game sounds, but give it a shot, play with it for a few games, and you'll be surprised at how accurate the spatialization of audio is with spatial audio on. So PC has the built-in Dolby Atmos for headphones. It also supports system settings. So if you go into your Windows down here, there's actually spatial audio built into Windows. So that's the way that we get it over the speakers in the room here. It also has headphones options. If you're on Xbox, you go to the system settings and then plug headphones into your controller. If you're on PlayStation, they have a 3D audio. So there's a lot of ways to get this type of experience for you at home. So check it out. I promise it'll be worth it. But this room is really great. So it does a number of things. One, this is how we set up when we get like 2 or 3 people in the room. We use this room probably 2 to 3 times a week where one person's sitting here, we pull out some other chairs, we're checking out the new hero, we're checking out the new content for the patch. And the key part of this room is it's calibrated. So we listen at a very, very industry standard 79 dB SPL, which just means a very steady volume with a lot of room and headroom. The reason that's important is that, we're working on this game for many, many years, as you all know. So when we mix someone 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and next month, we're always listening at the same level, which means that we can be more consistent and balanced. We have almost 40,000 sounds in Overwatch, which is just insane. And if one of those sounds is off, is way too loud, it's gonna cause people to turn down their volume. And then the whole mix of the game gets out of balance. So this room helps us keep it in balance, check it on a regular basis, and it's a lot of fun. So the other thing we could do in this room is we could accommodate bigger groups. So this was all built to be very configurable. This desk can be pulled back, put in that corner. We could bring a lot more chairs in here. We have another keyboard and mouse. So a group of people could be playing the game over here. And through these 2 PCs, we could then remotely connect to it and adjust levels so that we can review a lot more content this way. It's also meant for reviewing our cinematic pieces. When we get our final mixes that we put into the game, we review all of these here for volume consistency and panning consistency. We do all of our music mixing in game. So this is an example of a session that our music team, which is incredible, gives us the different stems. We pan it out to make it really configurable for surround sound formats. So it's a ton of fun. This room has really made a huge difference. We started using it back in, I think, 2019, and it's made a huge difference for the game and the consistency of the mix. We always listen to your feedback. We're looking on forums. If things are ever out of balance, let us know, because we're looking for it. Appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed checking out the room, and I'll see you in the game.
And we're back in the studio.
Yeah. What up?
That was amazing. I've never seen that room before.
It's an awesome room.
Yeah.
And like I sit right outside of that room, so I'll just be sitting there, and then if he listens to a new cinematic, it's just like, it just rumbles. It's awesome.
I always call it like the principal's office.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to get our grades checked.
Yeah. How often do you guys go in there?
It's like once a season we're in there.
It's kind of like towards the end of a feature, we kind of get some of us together with Scott and Paul and just like check out what we worked on.
Yeah.
Make sure
I feel like every once in a while I walk by like the little booths and I just hear like,
yeah.
and I'm like, what is going on in there?
It's good stuff.
All right, well, we are approaching-ish the end of the stream. So I'd like to talk about some, little things. Is there any, like, the most interesting thing that you've recorded ever for the game? Like a weird thing that you're like, I can't believe I used that in the game.
I guess one that sort of pops on top of my head, and it's probably like my favorite Mythic skin, right, is the Mythic Moira, because that one would turn into like a sort of eldritch horror type of like skin, right? And so it was like first Mythic skin I ever worked on, on Overwatch, and I was like, I want to make this sound super cool, super gross and nasty. So I was looking online, like, how do I make these types of like gross, fleshy sounds? And I had the idea of like, oh, I found online, like, look, I could try some macaroni. So I boiled a bunch of macaroni, brought it into the office, and I was just like recording it, just like getting my hands in there and just sort of squeezing it. I even put it like into a glove and just started like squishing it around with water inside. And fun fact, like literally, I don't know why, but every now and again we have like creators that come and like play the game, and I remember Brian was telling me like, yo, they were looking for like macaroni in the glove guy. And I'm like, bro, what do you talk about? Who, like,
That's your
I was
legacy,
so done.
dude.
I was like, that can't be
him.
my ending legacy, macaroni in the glove guy. So.
You can't beat the macaroni
macaroni
reputation,
allegation.
man.
I only used like a little bit of this. I didn't use all of it because like
It was nasty.
Yeah,
I was there for that recording session. That was gross.
Yeah, there was macaroni everywhere, but.
It was
I mean,
awesome.
it sounds gross, but like it's supposed to be gross. So I think you did a great job. I also
Yeah.
worked on that skin, and seeing it like go from like the normal Moira sounds to like the yucky, like the.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yes, like that's the stuff.
I
That's
think I
the
remember seeing on Twitter, everyone was like, "Why is it every footstep sounds so gross?" I was like, "Yeah, that's how I want
You
it."
did
She's
your
a
job.
disgusting creature. That's how it's supposed to be.
Vile.
What about you, Brian?
Man, I cannot beat that. I'll be real. I've done
Try your
some.
best.
I'll do my best. I mean, I've done some like just things you wouldn't really think of, like for the Reaper Mythic. He had like sort of the sand textures and like sort of like an earthy feel to the sound. And I was trying to figure out how to make that. And I went to the Foley room with a plastic container from home and a bunch of coffee grounds. And so I was gonna try like messing with the coffee grounds. They didn't make any sound. I was like, oh, whatever. Didn't work. And then I was messing with the container and like squeezing the container with the coffee grounds like on my hands, like made a really scratchy but like cool like kind of sound. And I was like, whoa, that
cool.
might be kind of cool. So I took that and I processed the heck out of it and like just made it feel really weighty and everything, and that ended up being a really, really important layer to his whole sound.
Another one of those sound adjectives.
Adjectives? Weighty, yeah.
Weighty.
Weighty.
That's awesome.
mean a lot of
So
things.
we've talked about like things that you guys have worked on. What is your favorite thing that you haven't worked on that's in the game? Like a sound maybe that you draw a lot of inspiration from, of something that you have worked on, or just something that you're
mean,
like, oh, that's sick.
When I started playing Overwatch in beta.
Yeah,
back in-
me too.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
I was competitive player in 2016, but not OWCS, just an at-home couch competitive player.
There you go.
But Lucio and Zenyatta were my mains, and so a lot of those sounds are very near and dear to my heart. So like Zenyatta's primary fire, insane, and then Lucio skates. I think Lucio skates. I still have no idea how they did it. I need to ask someone. Yeah, like, and then like the boom, boom, boom. Like it's just so clean. It's so nice, and it's just so unique and recognizable for the hero. So it's like that's by far one of my
That's cool.
favorites.
Yeah, I also kind of like no-lifed Overwatch. Like when it was in beta
I think we
too.
all have.
Yeah,
At some point.
Yeah.
want to flex. You know, I got to Masters.
Yo.
Only Genji. Just wanted to play that, yeah.
Dang.
That's just my
Genji
one
one
flex
trick.
though. Mhm.
Brutal.
But I'd say like
Guess you
probably
can
my
We're canceling you, dude. Genji one trick, man.
Liar.
Come on.
I'd say probably one sound is definitely just like my favorite is definitely Cassidy's ult, because it just sounds like so like a cowboy, and just like all the sounds in it, like a lot of times like sounds today have a lot of like warble stuff going on, but that ult just sounds like so like something out here like in a movie that isn't like really sci-fi at all. It just sounds like cinema almost, right?
Cinema.
Literally cinema.
Cinema. Totally, dude. That's awesome. I mean, there's just so much in Overwatch. Like, I mean, Scott said, what, 40,000 sounds?
40,000
That's a crazy number to me.
That's just like the
40,000
final sound. And you gotta think about all the iterations and things that the designers go through.
Yeah.
Like Nick said, the primary fire had like 12 different iterations, so it's it's like unfathomable.
Do you guys keep like old versions of things that, like, a sound that's being developed and it completely changed in the end? Do you guys use like old versions of a already completed sound for new sounds?
Yeah, so like rework stuff, we do that all the time. Like with Wrecking Ball rework, I was trying to dig through like archive stuff of things that were there, or like go through the hero designers like Reaper sessions through their DAW and just try and find bits and pieces that could fit for the new sounds, like mech stuff and things.
Yeah, or even sometimes in like Mythic skins too, right? We'll like grab, like if there's already like a sound that's like really punchy, like Zenyatta's orb, for example, we might just like reuse just like the low end from that orb itself and just like throw it into what we're already making, just to like add. Because like a lot of the stuff that is already there already sounds so perfect. It's like we just want to like add to it and just make it sound even cooler.
Yeah. You're asking us to make amazing stuff sound even cooler.
Yeah.
That's like the hardest job. It's so tough.
Yeah, making peak
Peak
yeah,
peaker.
peak even higher. Well, we have talked about a lot of things, and we've talked for a long time now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. Is there anything you want to, share for everyone watching?
Turn the sound on.
Yeah, I did want to say, like, we do hear a lot of like feedback and stuff. Like, we're always on the lookout for ideas from the community or pain points or things like that. We're always looking through the channels, and things get sent to us from other people on the team. It's always really helpful. And so, like, recently we had the one where like you could hear 3P voice effects on Mythic skins, and we weren't really sure, but then there was a video that came out. I can't remember the name of the creator, I'm sorry, but the video came out and I like looked into it. I was like, I have a little bit extra time, let me just look into this. And I found that there was like just some parameter that was off of the default for a couple of the Mythic skins for the third person. And it's like, God, it's just like a small little thing that just slipped under the radar, No,
that's
so
true.
yeah,
we're always listening to feedback.
We're always listening, and so even if like things don't happen immediately, just know that we're taking it all in. Finding time when we can to do things, and just try and make this an awesome game for y'all.
Yeah,
that's our goal.
Yeah, we try to make a great game for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what about you, Donovan?
No, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, just play with the game on.
Just play with the sound on. We're always listening to feedback, so just say whatever you think you like. We love hearing what you like. We also love hearing what you don't like too, because it helps us for future things. So just keep giving us feedback for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we have for today. We talked a lot, we chatted a lot, we yapped a lot, and we all learned a little bit about sound design. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we can officially wrap up the stream now. Thank you guys for sticking around for this entire thing. We always have a lot of fun making these streams for you all. So as always, let us know if there's any discipline or any topic specifically that you'd like us to cover in the future. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you in game.
Peace.